Good morning, everybody. How are y'all doing? Sorry, it's been a while since I've had an update. Been sick and had some family issues to take care of, but back at it. As you can see, on a nice overcast day, it's actually kind of nice. Well, I'm going to put in a couple of purlins today, and I'm going to show y'all how I do it. Not saying it's the perfect way, but it works for me. So let's get in and take a look. So first thing, I need to get my measurements. All right, so I need to be able to go through and find out how far it is in between. I don't have a nice pretty plan where everything fits perfect and milled and planed lumber. All of my stuff is for the most part rough cut and hand planed. So what that means is most everything is going to be slightly off. So I have to go through and get my measurements on just about every piece. So here's how I do it. My lifesaver. Doesn't have to be the Bosch. I've just had good luck out of their tools, but any laser tape measure will do. Now, come up. I'm going to get it in. And you have to line the laser up across. But I am looking at 11 feet 7 inches. So I'm going to hold, hopefully y'all can see that. I'm at 11 feet 7 inches and 13/16. Sorry, neighbor's dog is missing. But I'm at 11 feet 7 inches and 13/16, if y'all can see that. I'm going to get another couple of measurements just to confirm. All right. Lining my light up here. And that one came back the same. I'm going to get one from the bottom of the pocket as well, just to make sure. That one came out 3/4, so all pretty close. All right. So that one came out. I didn't lock it, but it came out 11 foot 7 inches and 3/4. So all fairly close in there. So I've got my measurements. I'm going to write that down, because if you're like me, I can't remember anything within minutes later. And then we're going to go cut the my beam. It's a 6x7, and now I've got to cut it to length and make sure I shave my widths properly. All right, so let's go get that done. Okay. So first thing I need to do is get me a nice square end. As you see, this is rough cut, so I need to get a nice square end so I can get my measurements. Now I don't want to take too much off of this, because if I shorten it too much, that's gonna, it can come back and bite you. So I'm going to take just enough off to get my square edge, and I'm going to measure my other end. But make sure your beam's long enough before you start cutting. Okay, so go in and lengthen my square. Got some sap on this. And we'll take about 1 inch off. That should get most of the bad. Would help my lids out. Okay. All right. Come over here. Now I have to be careful, because I have not planed this surface. You see, this was cut on a large old circular saw. I think it had a 48-inch blade, so you can see the grooves in it. So what that means is that I can be off slightly here. So I'm gonna have to watch out when I cut this. All right. So my saw is set to a straight 90, so I trust it more than my measurements. But again, same thing. It's not a smooth surface, that can be off. So even though my saw is set to 90, if the surface is off, it can cause me to get off here in my cut. So I'm gonna have to watch it a little bit. I'll probably end up having to do some cleanup work after the fact, but that's okay. All right, safety squints and hearing protection engaged. Let's get this going. Okay. So we got that cut. And for the most part, we're not too bad off from square. We got a little bit there. The center is pretty decent. And that's pretty good. So I got off a little bit on this end. And really what I need to do is shave a little bit on that bottom there. But overall, really good. Everybody, so a couple of things I didn't mention at the start when I took my measurements. Make sure you've got a tight fit on your rafters to, as far as your principal rafters to the posts. All right, and also make sure everything's square. Get your level out. Make sure your rafters are perpendicular. Make sure they're in the proper plane. It's very easy when you just have those up and you're bracing them to have them leaning in or leaning out. So make sure stuff is square before you start taking measurements. Kind of goes without saying, but make sure you do it. There we go. There we go. So you got that. Now you do this side. We didn't need it. Okay, so we're cut. So what I need to do next is make sure that this is a 6x7. My pocket up there is 6 inches by 7 inches, pretty close to exact, as best I can get it. So what I need to do is make sure that this is 6 inches by 7 inches. So, and that's actually a smidge under 7. That's okay. That's about the same. All right, so this is actually slightly under, so I don't have to do anything on my 7-inch side. My 6-inch side is about an 1/8 over. So it's about an 1/8 over. So I'm going to go in and shave that. My pocket is 2 inches deep, or excuse me, 1.5 inches deep. Apologies. So coming in and marking that, and I'm going to need to do the same thing on the other side. Okay, got my handy dandy plane. have to run this down just a bit more. Another thing I probably should do is come in and put me a block here as far as a stop block. I'm just freehanding this. It's going to be up in the rafters, hardly anybody's going to see it. But if you're really wanting to be exact so you don't have any exposure, overcut or anything like that, get you another piece of wood or metal or some sort of flat surface and clamp it down. For me, this is going to be okay. Okay. Check and see. Come on now. Yeah, still need to do a little bit more. Again, I'm trying to do half and half. Half on this side and half on the other. We'll flip it over and get it, but oh. Got to be getting pretty close here. Mark them 1.5 inches. So what I'm trying to do there is scour it. Gives me my shoulder I can come back to later. All right, let's see how we're doing. That's perfect. So I'm going to need to come in and clean the shoulder up a little bit, but that's it. All right, but that's all there is to it. So I've got to go do the same thing on the other end, and then she's ready to go up.